Hi David.
Hi there.
So just starting with team news, is there anything to update us on?
Not really. We're still hoping that Lanzini can improve and be better. He's still carrying the knock from the car crash, unfortunately. But look, he's been training, but he's still a bit ginger in everything he's doing. But we're hopeful that he's getting much closer to being able to play.
And now that you've had some time to reflect, do you have any further thoughts on the Aaron Cresswell red card from last night?
Nah, I said last night that I don't really want to talk about the referees or the decisions. So, no, I've got nothing else really to say on that.
There are stills of Moussa Dembele with a Ronaldo-style wink after the sending off. Have you seen them, and what are your thoughts on that?
I've not seen them. But I think in the end, you don't. Football comes around. It's a strange thing. Football, comes around, and just got to be careful. But no, I've not seen it.
How has it been balancing European football and the Premier League? Do you have any concerns about squad strength?
Yes, I think if you're playing, I think the Thursday-Sunday football's always proved to be really difficult for, whether it be us or any clubs in the UEFA competitions. Certainly the Europa League competition, I should say. But I think it's a difficult one because of the quick turnaround between Thursday and Sunday. But I have to give great praise to the players for how they've coped with it in the majority of the season. So we're still in European football, we're in April now, and it's great credit to the players. We want to stay there, but to be in Europe you have to do well in the Premier League, so we have to try and perform as best we can, and our focus is solely on getting a result at Brentford now.
So Brentford up next, with them winning 4-1 at Chelsea last weekend. Do you think they'll be carrying some of that momentum into the game?
Who, Brentford? Yeah. Yeah, Brentford have been a good side. They were a good side last year. They came up and they look as if they've had a good first year consolidating in the Premier League, so they'll be really pleased with how they've done. It was a great result they had at Chelsea last week. But all we can do is concentrate on ourselves and hopefully get ourselves ready for another big game.
How do you view the race for a top 4 position?
Well, I think it's always difficult to break into the top 4 in the English Premier League because of the quality of the teams that are there. I think for us, if we could try and keep in around European positions, I think it would be great. We've had a really good season last year. We had our first season of really having the European games and the Premier League games, and I think we're having a good go at it. I think a good fist of it, but I think that we've got a lot of focus coming in on the next league game, and we have to get prepared and ready for Brentford.
And lastly from me, do you think the game between Man City and Liverpool on Sunday is a title decider, and how do you see it going?
I've not really got a huge opinion because I'm concentrating so much on my work at West Ham here and the amount of games I've got here. I've not really got that much time to think about how Man City and Liverpool are going to do. But we're obviously talking about 2 top teams and 2 teams which are doing incredibly well.
Thanks, Emma. Paul,
thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there.
I know it's West Ham's first real time of Thursday, Sunday football, but with this having run for a long time in England, are teams getting better at coping with that? Is there more sort of knowledge of how to cope with fatigue?
Yeah, I think that from our point of view, I think we were able to cope because we split our team quite often. We in the early rounds we tried to make sure that everybody played, and I've got to say everybody stood up and got his results. Sometimes it can work for you, sometimes it can't, and so I think that helped us a little bit in the early months of the season with it. I think now when you're getting into the knockout games, you're more liable to have to play all your main players to get your results, and that's where I think it starts to take its toll a little bit in this part of the season. But we're still in there fighting, and we're still enjoying it.
I was at the Spurs game, which came after the magnificent performance against Sevilla. Obviously Spurs started very, very well, and then you did yourselves proud again before losing. But I wondered whether that has similarities to what you faced this weekend, having played with 45 minutes with 10 men, having played extra time against Sevilla?
Yeah, well, it's a completely different game. You know, we were 2-1 down in the game in the 90th minute against Tottenham, and we were giving ourselves every chance to get something out of the game against a really informed side at that time as well. So they're the difficulties you get with being in the Europa League, because you have to get yourself ready again for the games, and it'll be the same. We've got to get ourselves ready for the Brentford game. We'll have to be prepared and give ourselves every chance of getting a result. But the resilience the players have showed mainly over the season at the moment has been very good, so long may that continue.
I'm sure you've spoken about Jared every week, but he's now almost doubled his goal tally from last season, and I wondered how impressed you were that, having had a month out with injuries, he's scored straight away in back-to-back.
We've needed him. We've missed these goals when he's not been here, but since he's come back, he's got us a couple of really important goals. I think he's played well for someone who's just back. He's getting himself back into it. The goals are really helping us. So we need that to continue. We want him to find good form so that we can keep our goals going. We need to keep scoring some goals. Thank you.
Okay. Cameras off. Oh, sorry, Charlie from Haters.
Right back. David, I just want to quickly ask you about Brentford. I know you kind of spoke a little bit about them. How impressed have you really been with them, especially Thomas Frank, considering it's their first season back in the top flight in 74 years?
I think Brentford have done a great job, but I think overall, I think we've all been looking at Brentford, who maybe just missed out on getting into the Premier League over a couple of seasons. I think they've built up enough momentum. I think they know exactly how they play. They've changed a little bit, I think, in what they do. I think having a look at the Premier League has given them a chance to see what they need to do, maybe to stay up. I think they've done that. I think they look as if they'll be safe as a Premier League club this year. I don't see any problem with that. And you have to say they've done a really good job, Brentford. And look, they've got a good model. They've got a club which has decided one way they want to go, and they've worked on it for a few years now. And I think they need a lot of praise for what they've done. Staying in the Premier League's not easy when you look at the quality of the teams and the challenges you've got. So they're doing a really good job, Brentford, at the moment.
Thanks, guys. Cameras off, please.